Alright guys, I'm pretty excited. This is the biggest event to occur on my channel thus far. I'm going to set it to instant premiere so you guys can trash talk in the live chat as the event goes down, as you watch your favorite characters from both sides of the comic world clash. This is part one of Marvel vs. DC, my end all war of who is the better verse in combat. Now, there's 5 rounds today. This is round one, of course, as a video total, but there's 5 tiers, which means that there's 40 total characters. The reason I have that number is because each verse for each tier will get 2 heroes and 2 villains. So it's a 4v4 deathmatch. So my power scaling is going to be shorter due to the fact that I have to explain 40 different characters. So be mindful of that in case you're like, oh, you missed out on some stuff. But anyways, I'm going to do the matchups, say who wins, and at the end of this video, one of your favorite verses will be up on the scoreboard. With that being said, kick back. I hope you enjoy. And as your favorite villain, I am glad to present to you my Marvel vs. DC versus battle. Now, tier number one, street tier. First up, introducing for DC is Batman. Now, Batman, of course, one of the most famous crime fighters ever. He really got there because of the murder of his parents. It drove him to become rich, dangerous, and overall one of the most famous comic book characters ever. Now, speed-wise, casually for him, he's dodged bullets, including up close and personal. They weren't able to hurt him. He's been able to dodge lasers before, even when not given that much time to react, which means he's not necessarily just an aim dodger. When it goes to durability, he is capable of tanking poison and multiple lacerations and stab wounds by the Joker, and he kept on going after this occurred. He was able to trade blows with Batman Who Laughs. Now, this is impressive because Batman Who Laughs scales to him in terms of speed. He scales to him in terms of skill as well. But he's a little bit above Batman because of the universe he comes from. And he was taking multiple hits from him and was able to trade blows. That's extremely impressive. He was able to, at one point, strength-wise, influence the course of a plane and use his weight and strength to maneuver it a bit. As far as like some of his best combat feats, he's bested Deathstroke in combat before. Deathstroke is considered the most dangerous mercenary in the world and one of the most skilled fighters in DC Comics. And you know, on the higher end of things, Batman, of course, has dodged point-blank lasers, as well as he's dealt with a blitz from Etrigan. Of course, this is higher up because Etrigan usually beats up characters in the Superman tier. But he's kept up with his speed and stuff, you know, it's all good and well. He also knows 100 plus martial arts, and he's the go-to guy as a tactical leader for the Justice League. Despite the fact that there are so many high intellects on the team already, they still pick Batman. Now, one villain on Batman's team, Deadshot. Deadshot Floyd Lawton knew he would grow up to become cold-blooded after he killed his brother and felt nothing, and he is one of the most dangerous marksmen in DC Comics. Strength-wise, Deadshot can casually hold a minigun in one arm and fire efficiently. He's firing an 85-pound gun, one-handed, both easily and accurately. Deathstroke actually was unable to take him by surprise. Deathstroke somewhat implies that he might have precog because he was asked, hey, how did he avoid us? And Deathstroke said he had to have felt something. Thus, he might have some weird sixth sense that helps him, but anyways, it's a good feat. In one confrontation with Batman, Deadshot actually did admit somewhat to holding back against Batman and not wanting to go all the way in terms of killing Batman, so there is a level of suppression. He literally can see a speedster trying to blitz him. He claims in this very scan that he can see each individual wing flap of a hummingbird, so seeing speedsters is pretty easy to him. We at one point saw Deadshot go after Deathstroke and absolutely wanted all the smoke with Deathstroke. And he tanked blows from Deathstroke that dented the metal behind him. He survived a point-blank shootout with Deathstroke. He kind of matched Deathstroke in terms of skill and then eventually got him to call out and blast each other to pieces. Consistently in the comics, he seems to get the drop on Batman due to his stealth and sniper skills and usually takes him out from a long distance away. In terms of his dueling capability and as far as a dueling shot, as shooting while under duress yourself, he's at least Deathstroke's equal. He can snipe an entire room while blindfolded, basically use his other senses to feel out the general position of each person in that room, visualized it, and then blasted them perfectly. He also carries weapons that are capable of bypassing most armor available to people, as explained by Batman himself. He also possesses wrist cannons, explosives, and laser pistols. His famous monocle he wears analyzes the target, assesses their durability and armor, and allows him to come up with strategies to take them down. In terms of hand-to-hand combat, he's not constantly scrapping with people, but he has shown he's trained, and evidence for this includes him bullying Count Vertigo in hand-to-hand combat. Now, for the second villain on the DC roster, we have Catman. Catman will be a surprise to a lot of people. He's not that popular of a character, but he's an intriguing character and basically became Catman just to taunt Batman. Strength-wise, Catman casually has been able to fight lions, tossing them around and not being too worried about them in a physical matchup. He is capable of landing fatal blows on Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger is celebrated as one of the best martial artists in DC Comics. We've seen Catman outstrike Batman while holding back, so he's actually gone toe-to-toe with Batman before and bested him in hand-to-hand combat. We've seen Catman tag Aquaman while nerfed due to his fear of water. Cats don't like water. They were surrounded by water, and still Catman was able to tag Aquaman. In terms of speed, he actually has really good cat-like reflexes and has even dodged Energy Blast from Etrigan the Demon. He's also on the lower end dodged blatant sound waves point blank, and it was no problem to him. Durability-wise, he's tanked blows from Aquaman and seemed to suffer little to no effect from it. Now, Catman fights loose and he fights hard because he has, quote, 9 lives, and his suit does seem to bring him back to life with a weird healing property. And, of course, Catman has tanked being tortured, shrugged it off, and continued with his day once he got free. He is one of the toughest, lesser-known characters in DC. Moving on to the final hero on this DC team's roster. Green Arrow. Oliver Queen, rich boy, got stuck on an island, learned how to use a bow with Steph Curry with the shot, came back, started fighting crime and corruption as a knockoff Batman with a bow and arrow. But anyways, he is capable of hitting targets from ranges where arrows shouldn't even physically accurately land being shot from such a distance. He's a sniper even while he himself is being assaulted by villains. He almost seems to have a sort of hyper focus when firing at targets. He can shoot multiple arrows at once simultaneously, no issues, and it's accurate. His normal base arrows hit harder than bullets, as evidenced by their damage to metal objects surrounding the area. Trick arrows include freezing a room and acid to melt through whatever. Batman helped design one of the power exploding arrows he carries, and Batman says that the power behind that arrow can basically destroy anything. He's been able to, melee-wise, keep up with Batman when they fought against an entire army and they held their own. He has also one-shot a copycat martial artist who was trying to copy Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. And in a confrontation with Deadshot, the lethal assassin, he held his own and stalemated him. Moving on to the Marvel side of things. First up for them, Moon Knight. This is the multiple personality. People think he's a Batman knockoff, but he really isn't. Moon Knight, mercenary, avatar of Khonshu, the god of the moon, and the keeper of those who travel at night. Now, for Moon Knight, we have seen that he heals faster than normal people, as well as he possesses armor that protects him from standard attacks. In a confrontation with Taskmaster, he was able to beat Taskmaster, and it is explained that Moon Knight gets more dangerous the more damage he takes in a fight. He has been able to go toe-to-toe with Black Panther, hold his own, and even land several blows on him. Cap, according to enlisting him onto a Black Ops team, explained that he considers Moon Knight to be elite level. We've seen Moon Knight get into it with Punisher, and he actually beat Punisher in hand-to-hand combat, sort of ragdolling him. Shang-Chi, one of the most celebrated martial artists in all of Marvel Comics, has recognized Moon Knight for his talent as a fighter. He possesses carbonadium armor. This allows him to take heavy damage from anything from guns to raw damage from attack potency like punches, as well as he can take some knives, but it's not perfect against cutting materials. Now, adamantium darts are a weapon that he carries. These adamantium darts are capable of piercing most armors due to the adamantium nature of the weapons, and he has shown a propensity to spam these darts. He knows and is versatile in all martial arts. This was established very early for his character, and he's a celebrated martial artist, probably the most underrated martial artist in comic books. He is a nerve striker. He likes to use nerve strikes, as well as he can do this with his staff, and he is a talented staff fighter himself. Moving on, a villain on this Marvel team, Taskmaster. Taskmaster, one of the most celebrated mercenaries, actually usually is the guy gone to train bad guys on how to properly fight. He has photo reflexes, can learn and copycat your moves, and is one of the most underused characters in Marvel. Now, Taskmaster has shown the ability to fight Cap and Bucky and hold his own just fine. For a short amount of time, he can amp his speed for bursts. He basically replays moves in his head at a fast speed and makes him speed up. He can use a move and counter the move once he has seen it. He was able to beat Deadpool in a confrontation, and he did so using his swordsmanship. He was able to press Captain America later due to his skill he stole from others. So basically, he was hitting him with so many styles. Cap was identifying the styles because they were so similar, and he was getting overwhelmed. He's at one point been able to hold off the Avengers successfully by using tactics and the skills he's learned. He's easily fought off Spider-Man in their confrontations, and in the PS4 game, he's one of the hardest villains. He's able to tag and hit villain, even knock him back and damage him. He knows an instant kill palm strike capable of killing most attackers. His tactics rival that of possessing precognition and supernatural reflexes. That's how good they are. Shield, bow, and sword will be his typical armory that he's carrying into battle today. Moving on. Next bad guy on this Marvel team, Bullseye. Bullseye's the crazy marksman, hates Daredevil, killed Elektra like 6 billion times, and he's overall crazy. He's been able, like I said, take down Elektra, and he's actually slit her throat with a playing card, and Elektra is a world-renowned assassin. He can throw so hard that even Spider-Man is in danger when facing Bullseye, and he can be hurt by him. He almost knocked out the Punisher simply by throwing a paper airplane at him. That's how hard and accurate he throws. Routinely, when matched up with Deadpool, he's able to best him because of his skill. He's gotten the drop on the champion of the hand ninjas and casually one-shot him, didn't care about him. He has no issue tagging Spider-Man with just arrows. This is quite impressive because Spider-Man easily dodges bullets and lasers, and he's using arrows and tagging him. Teleporters can't even dodge and evade him because he simply judges where they will be and throws accurately based on projections. His bones are a lot harder to break than most people because they actually had to be laced with adamantium due to injuries suffered in combat. He can handle, as far as hand to hand combat, Daredevil tier fighters in fights and is skilled enough to hold them off and sometimes even beat them. Moving on to his teammate, the final teammate, the last good guy on this team, Hawkeye. Clint, one of the most beloved characters in Marvel, especially after the MCU, is a renowned marksman, and although human, he is one of the key contributors to the Avengers and one of the most beloved members of the Avengers. Now, one of the most dangerous arrows he has in his arsenal, in fact, is the adamantium tipped arrows, which tear through pretty much anything. While unarmed, strength-wise, this was a feat he was able to briefly knock back Venom, who was restraining him. This was very hard to do as well, given he basically had no room for momentum. He's confident that he's faster than Psylocke in combat. Both Psylocke and the person she was with actually believed him, which means it's a viable option. He very well may have been faster than her. His standard arrows alone are strong enough and potent enough to harm even the likes of Mr. Fantastic, who's exceptionally durable. He's been able to neg Captain America. America considers Clint to be the best of them when he's at his peak performance. Now, with that being said, what are the matchups this round? Who comes out on top? And who wins the first battle for their team? Now, first matchup, Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. I have Hawkeye winning. Next matchup, Deadshot versus Bullseye. By the way, Hawkeye, I think the adamantium arrow is what makes the difference. I'll give you all a brief explanation for wins, but of course, I got to consider time. Deadshot versus Bullseye. I got Bullseye. I think Bullseye is more liable to create opportunities with the surroundings around him, evade Deadshot, and turn it into an up-close scrap where he would maul Deadshot in hand-to-hand. Moon Knight versus Catman. I got Catman. Catman's a better martial artist. He's just as vicious, and his claws are capable of bringing down Moon Knight, and I believe he would beat Moon Knight. Next, Batman versus Taskmaster. I got Batman in a close fight, but I think Batman's smart enough and has enough gadgets available to him to take out Taskmaster. Moving on, we have Batman and Catman closing in, trying to take out Hawkeye and Bullseye. Who wins? I favor Batman and Catman. I do think they close it out. I do think they're smart enough and good enough fighters to make it a hand-to-hand combat and to win that way. I believe the biggest difference and the MVP of this round is Catman, because he's basically Batman except more reckless, more durable, and crazier. And those claws are dangerous, and I think he would be capable of taking down anyone on the Marvel side for this round. As a result, DC Comics officially takes round 1. Round 2, this tier I call just low meta, basically. It's just basic metahumans, essentially. No big deal. First up for DC is a villain. We have Deathstroke. Now, Deathstroke is one of the most dangerous mercenaries in DC Comics and was given a super soldier-like serum, sort of like Captain America, and is one of the most dangerous characters around. Now, Deathstroke, speed-wise, he was able to blitz and stop Zatanna before she could even get a spell off. He has no delay on reflexes at all, and as a result, he instantly, reflexively acts when attacked because there's no delay from his brain. So he's so much faster than humans. He also fought Cassandra Cain, and Cassandra Cain explained that his movements are unorthodox and cannot be predicted. He has gone up against Aquaman and was able to outmaneuver Aquaman, use his senses against him, and get himself out of there. Deadshot, despite being one of the most accurate shots in the verse, was unable to tag Deathstroke when he fired upon him. He has shown the ability to fight on despite being lethally stabbed. This is due to his healing factor and willpower. Green Arrow considers him to be a god tier fighter in terms of what they typically have to deal with. He's shown he's able to tag Kid Flash in combat. This was first shown back in the day in the comics against the Titans. Later on, Slade proved that his level of combat speed for him is possible because he did it again. He tagged Kid Flash again. Deathstroke at some points is so hard to kill that he actually muses if he's immortal. Due to his Prometheum armor, by the way, I'm not giving him his more advanced armor. It's too OP. Deathstroke takes no fall damage. This means heavy armor is what he has against kinetic energy. In his first clash with Batman, he proved himself to be the superior fighter and the more skilled fighter in martial arts. His Prometheum armor has even held up to star bolts from Starfire. Deathstroke can not only hit speedsters with his hands, but he has shown he can also shoot them, which is even just as impressive because he has to use bullets, and he still is able to project where they go. He can literally will himself back to life if he dies. He's done it a couple of times, and it's absolutely nuts. His armor has been shown to be capable of tanking helicopter heavy machine gun fire. On his team, another villain, we have Vandal Savage. Former, wild man from 37,000 years ago, no big deal. Meteor gave him some radioactive stuff. He became hyper intelligent and went on to become a plague for humanity throughout history. He once, strength-wise, was able to beat Cyborg with a well-placed strike. He did so out of desperation, trying to escape. He is capable of grappling with a bloodlusted Hawkman who is no slouch. He has shown he can counter metahumans and use prep to beat the likes of Flash, once again showing off his hyperintelligence. He, in one confrontation, actually was capable of knocking out the Flash with a hit. He once showed that he eventually was able to bring down a burning Martian after months of combat, showing his tenacity and toughness. Time travel and flashbacks in the comics prove that post-Meteor Vandal Savage was always a hyper-intelligent genius. He will have his Scarab on him, which can allow him to teleport. Of course, he has picked up objects over time to aid him. With one punch, Vandal Savage KO'd arguably the most celebrated boxer in DC Comics, Wildcat himself. He has once punched his way out of stone when he was stuck behind it. Back in time, he actually endured a beating from that time period's enraged Aquaman. He showed he was able to tank energy blasts from Green Lanterns. Vandal has shown he could tank blows that would kill most and easily was able to go on to fight. Moving on, the first hero on this team, Beast Boy. Beast Boy is the comedy relief on the Teen Titans and is one of the most beloved characters from youngsters because of the show, and he's a shapeshifter. He's capable of shapeshifting rapidly, however, he doesn't do this a lot because it makes him feel uncomfortable. Not only can he shape rapidly, but he also has shown he can create hybrid forms. His animal battles have destroyed skyscrapers around them in battle, and this occurred when he had to take on Zoomaster and they kept upping their size. He has shown he knows how to and can take a dinosaur form, proving he's not restricted to current animals or animals just from Earth. He has shown that he's capable of taking the form of a muscular gorilla and uses him to brawl. His animal forms outscale normal animals. This is shown when his gorilla form uppercut through Cyborg over a building. Obviously, a regular gorilla is not doing that. He has shown an affinity for taking dragon forms, which can be quite dangerous in battle. He has taken on a massive snake form before in order to aid his team. And he has also taken the form of the massive Monkey King in battle, but he's only really done this once. And finally, another useful form he can use is a giant Phoenix form to provide that aerial assault. Moving on. Final member of this team. A hero, too. Another young hero. Aqualad. Aqualad is one of the most celebrated underwater combatants. Young prodigy who joined the Teen Titans and became one of their most valued members. When it comes to powers, he can create water vortexes that are so strong they can even sweep up Superboy. He bested Ra's al Ghul and killed him in a simulation once by drowning him using his hydrokinesis. He can also create a wave so potent that one shot of it put down King Shark, who literally is only about the ocean life. That's crazy. Aqualad actually carries water with him at all times, and he often uses it to make swords for himself. Aqualad has shown not only can he manipulate water, he can freeze the water, making it dangerous in combat. He can also produce a lightning blast that was capable of putting down Black Manta, who was also kind of amped at the time and can take hits from Aquaman. He showed he was skilled enough as a duelist to train in swordsmanship with Damian Wayne, who is both skilled and ruthless. Now, first up on the Marvel team, we have the homie, the savage Sabretooth. Sabretooth is the thorn in Wolverine's side. He has enhanced physicality, claws, teeth, and an insane healing factor and a will to kill. He has one-shot Wolverine just by using another guy as a ram. He is consistently, according to Chris Claremont, who wrote a majority of the X-Men runs, is Wolverine's superior and proves it every year. He actually suppresses himself against Wolverine because he doesn't want to kill him. He is a better hunter and fighter than Wolverine. Wolverine has even admitted this himself. While he was hurt, he managed to body Nightcrawler, who was teleporting and trying to blitz him. He tanked a blast from Professor X and kept on fighting. He had to face and endure a swarm of demons one time, and he actually tore through them and was just fine. He can also ambush Wolverine and blitz him. Wolverine can even smell those who have no scent, but yet he could not sense Sabretooth. On his team, another villain, Kraven the Hunter. Kraven is a ruthless Russian hunter, physically enhanced due to drugs he did earlier in his life, rockstar life. Just kidding. But he considers hunting Spider-Man one of the best games and is a big game hunter. He carries adamantium fish hooks with him that he uses to catch powerful prey or foes. He was capable of squaring off with a bloodlusted Spider-Man and held his own and even took advantages in the fight. With his stone axe, he had the power to break the bones of Spider-Man with a single strike to the shoulder. He was able to also cripple a massive mutated lion with just his bare hands. Historically, he has always easily held his own against Spider-Man. Storm was unable to tag Kraven with her lightning, and Storm can regularly tag and put down Wolverine with the same lightning, yet couldn't hit Kraven. Black Panther was not able to tag him with projectiles in a random encounter between the two. Kraven has faced down multiple metas before. He tanked a blast from Cyclops and still eluded them. He can consistently tag Spider-Man with his nets. He has powerful hallucinogenic darts in his arsenal, if necessary, to take down his opponents or slow them. He is capable of using nerve strikes that bypass the metahuman durability of even the likes of Spider-Man. He has brawled with gorillas and was able to one-shot them simply by using well-placed nerve strikes. He easily evaded the likes of Beast, a member of the X-Men, and even damaged him with a nerve strike counter elbow. He is proficient with the use of a spear and even one-shotted large dinosaurs with his spear throws. With just his bare hands and while smiling, he once took down a Sasquatch by literally tearing it apart. Moving on, a member of the Marvel Squad, the hero, the guy I hate the most, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the lamest character of all time. However, he is one of the most famous and beloved characters, so I gotta put him in here. He is considered, according to some guides, more fluid in combat than Daredevil and Captain America. It is stated in one confrontation with Wolverine that Spider-Man was very capable of killing him should he will himself to do so. He once had an encounter with Black Panther and was able to rock Black Panther in the fight. Panther and Hawkeye once confronted Spider-Man and failed in their ability to blitz him. He has one point lifted an entire train over his head. He has dodged characters before they even attack. His spider sense can be so potent that he can dodge you before you even begin that attack. He has shown he is capable of taking down Luke Cage in combat. He is capable of annoying the Hulk and not immediately dying, which is impressive in itself. His webs are potent and strong enough to momentarily halt Nova when he had to face him. And his webs have also shown they can casually carry multiple tons of weight as well. Moving on, the last character on this team, the last hero on this team, Black Panther. T'Challa is the ruler of Wakanda. The Black Panther has all his abilities enhanced and is a valued member every once in a while of the Avengers. Panther once showed he was capable of going all out in a brawl for 13 hours straight. All of his physicals and his senses were extremely amped after taking the heart-shaped herb. He is vastly superior as a martial artist to a team of well-trained ninjas. His claws were capable of harming Kraven's son, who can take hits from Spider-Man. Panther has energy daggers that can literally ignore and bypass energy, even the likes of force fields. He was capable of dodging Cap's shield despite the unnatural and unorthodox angles that Cap's shields take. He has high-tier passive mind hacks resistance. Emma Frost once commented that it hurt just trying to put herself into his mind. He was able to take hits from and keep up with a mind-controlled Iron Fist. Most characters of this tier would have downright died in that confrontation. He has once evaded a giant werewolf and was able to casually break its neck with one quick snap. Panther's suit can build up kinetic energy and release it either in focus blasts or broad blasts to get rid of multiple foes. Sue Storm once hypothesized that Black Panther's senses and awareness was actually on par with Daredevil. He was able to bypass Luke Cage's durability and knock him to the ground with a nerve strike. He has immunity in his suit to high blasts of energy like lightning. Due to his marriage with Storm, they kind of had to do that. He once one-shot a Deadpool that actually attempted to blitz and take down Panther first. Didn't even start the fight, but one-shot Deadpool anyway. He proved he was superior to the White Wolf as a martial artist. The White Wolf has similar training to Panther's, which is all martial arts, including the unique styles of Wakanda. He was able to take hits and pressure from Super Skrull, who regularly fights the Fantastic Four. Panther was not only able to take down a Doombot, but he was actually able to one-shot it and behead it with his claws. His vibranium weave armor is capable of resisting most blades and impact weapons. It also absorbs kinetic energy. Now, let's go over the matchups of this Tier 2 fight. Deathstroke versus Black Panther. We got Deathstroke. He just seems to be too fast and just too well balanced. His armor's just as good as Panther's, honestly. He doesn't absorb the kinetic energy, but he should at the very least be able to hold him off in time, if not win. However, this would not be a quick fight and it would be prolonged. Vandal Savage versus Sabretooth. I got Sabretooth. Sabretooth is more consistent, more vicious, more brutal, and a little quicker than Savage, and I believe he'd tear him up. Aqualad versus Spider-Man. Despite myself, I have to admit Spider-Man wins too quick. I don't believe Aqualad could consistently tag Spider-Man, and I believe Spider-Man is strong enough to take down Aqualad. Beast Boy versus Craven. This fight would be hilarious to see. I believe Craven would take him down, especially with the adamantium fishhooks. Beast Boy's just too immature. I think Craven jumps on him right away. He likely has to turn himself into like a gorilla, and would just get mauled by Craven and taken down. Moving on, obviously, Deathstroke would have to deal with the remaining 4 Marvel members, and because of that, he's going down. He just can't handle all of them. MVP of this round ends up being Sabretooth. His durability and brutal nature was pivotal for Marvel as they even up the score 1-0. Next tier we're doing, I call this just a regular meta tier. And first up is actually a Marvel character. This is a villain by the name of Carnage. Picture Venom, but consistently crazier by a large margin, sadistic, and more powerful. Carnage is capable of stretching him out to the point that he essentially searched an entire city by himself. Carnage has casually bested both Spider-Man and Venom at the same time. Carnage is so crazy that combined with his symbiote, he has shown the ability to actually inflict his own mental madness upon others. Multiple Venoms once attacked Carnage at once. All of them failed to take down or blitz this Carnage. While Cloak tried to suck Carnage into his dimension, Carnage overpowered the pull of this dimension using his symbiotic tentacles. Carnage has shown before he can even bypass the armor of Magneto and even injure the mutant. Carnage has absolutely mauled Venom historically, has a winning record. Venom never really puts up a great fight. Carnage was able to damage a Sentinel and tear out the eye. This feat is actually impressive because this wasn't a normal Sentinel and in fact had adamantium. You could make an argument Carnage can regen from just a drop of blood, given that his symbiote is a part of every cell in his body. His symbiote is so strong that it kept him alive in space for an extended amount of time while he was torn in half. Carnage was actually able to take down or take a surprise blast from behind by Doctor Doom and didn't die. And Doctor Doom can fight the Avengers by himself, no problem. Maybe he won't win in a random encounter, but he can do work. Carnage has also literally been blown up before, and he was able to reform himself after. Next up on the Marvel team, a hero, Gamora. She is considered the most dangerous woman in the galaxy and is the infamous daughter of Thanos turned hero. She has actually gotten into a conflict with Captain Marvel before and was able to completely ragdoll Marvel with a single kick. She has shown she is capable of harming She-Hulk with her well-placed strikes. It is said that she is actually more agile in combat than even Thanos himself, who can battle the likes of Thor and Silver Surfer. She is capable of soloing an army by herself, and she has actually shown this multiple times in the comics. She was able to power through being exposed to the heat of the sun itself, and Drax actually had complete faith she would do it because he said she was the most stubborn and dangerous woman in the galaxy, would not back down. But you basically have to kill her. She survived a blast to the face by Captain Marvel after their fight because she was mauling Captain Marvel. At that point, she had to blast her. And she was capable of a nerve strike that was so dangerous, it was stated that it could put down foes who are just under Thanos' tier of durability, which is absolutely insane. Moving on, we have a villain and one that may surprise all of you, but it is General Grievous. That's right. Marvel owns Star Wars, so you're going to see some Star Wars. Now, in Revenge of the Jedi stuff, the manual, we have seen he's actually quite capable of tanking Starfighter blasts as the cybernetic leader of the Separatists. He can fight several massively faster than light Jedi Masters at once. For reference, a simple Jedi kid Padawan can react to lasers point blank. He has gotten into a fight with Mace Windu and survived the duel. Mace actually resorted to using the Force. He is so fast that he can dodge the actual telekinetic blast from Jedi point blank. He was there and present for a planet surface threatening blast, and it didn't really do anything. He was able to move on. He has bopped Dirge in combat before, and Dirge can press and potentially beat Jedi Knights. He has mollywopped his own Magna Guards before, who, for reference, are capable of killing Jedi. Moving on, we have Psylocke, one of the lesser used members of the X-Men, very cool in X-Force, telepath, ninja style. She's pretty dope. Anyways, even in classic days, where she was significantly weaker, she was able to best the likes of Wolverine in combat. She is capable of creating illusions that either can affect one individual or a mass group depending on the needs she has. She has mind hacked and finessed Gambit. Professor X wasn't even able to do that. She has beaten an Archangel who, at that point, was able to beat Phoenix amped Jean Grey, and still Psylocke took him down with her mental warfare. She is quite dangerous as a telepath. Moving on, we have the DC team. Representing them first is a villain by the name of Prometheus. Prometheus is basically a bad guy who just wants to do hood rat stuff. Decided to go around the world learning to be as vicious and dangerous as he can be. Prometheus studies everyone and actually claims he has a file on every superhero on the planet, including how to properly counter and take them down. He has rendered himself incapable of feeling any pain so that it does not affect him at all in combat. He can produce a surprise energy blade, and if you get up close and aren't aware of this blade, he can delimb you, as he showed against Red Arrow. His energy blast can even put down the likes of Hawkwoman when used to devastating effect. He can also force you to relive past trauma. This is very brief. Obviously, it doesn't scale to something like the Penance Stare, but it is something to consider. He was actually able to tag and harm Jay Garrick, a member of the Flash family. He was able to endure a beating from a bloodlusted Donna Troy, a certified metahuman, and she wasn't able to kill him. Miss Martian actually one time knocked herself out trying to mind hack Prometheus, and she has shown Martian Manhunter level prowess before. She's a little under him consistently, but it's still impressive. And he is not only a practiced martial artist, he is actually a user of the most potent violent styles out there, mainly just because of his sadistic nature. Moving on, we have Midnighter. Midnighter, member of Stormwatch, famously knows how the battle ends before it even starts, and is one of my all-time favorite characters. Midnighter is so skilled and so good with his abilities that he beat someone who literally had the exact same powers and abilities. He casually was able to dodge all these shots fired at him up close from Deadshot, who rarely misses. He has actually shown he is able to evade Etrigan. Etrigan is even shocked at such combat reflexes from a mere human. Midnighter instantly knows all possibilities in a fight and goes about the fight based on this learned knowledge. Each of these ninja in this fight he had could possibly beat Batman, as just one of them could press him, and Midnighter jokingly wrecked a whole platoon of them in martial arts. He was actually able one time to time a shot and tag and stagger Etrigan the Demon. He was also able to tank and eventually recover from a beating from an enraged Red Lantern, showing off his enhanced durability. Moving on, a villain on our team, Black Manta, forever has beef and wants smoke with Aquaman. Actually had a tragic childhood. But yeah, mainly just lives to annoy Aquaman. Black Manta has historically showcased he is quite capable of harming the likes of Aquaman if given the chance. His energy beams are potent enough to even harm the Flash when they hit him. He has proven he can consistently handle opponents that are Aquaman speed or around that tier due to his battles. His knife, when up close, when he uses it, actually showed it could bypass Atlantean armor. Due to drugs he was given as a child in order to cure his autism and OCD, he is now considered a hyper intelligent individual. Manta's projectiles that he also uses can also get past the durability of Aquaman's armor. Last member, the high flying hero himself, Hawkman. Hawkman is the character that Danko hates on and downplays the most consistently. Anyways, his armor will actually move itself in response to an attack to defend him from harm. He has proved he is capable of swapping hands back in the day with the likes of even Aquaman. In 1993, it's explained that Hawkman will absorb the knowledge of the prior mantle holders of the Hawkman title, and that's how he becomes such a devastating warrior. He has shown at one point that he can heal himself from fatal injuries due to the nth metal. He was at one point able to fly and blitz Gog, who was dealing with multiple superheroes at once. So this is an impressive speed feat. He was also able to survive the fire of Mordru, which is capable of downing most league members. Now, let's go to the matchups. For time's sake, obviously, I'm trying to keep the speed up. Carnage versus Prometheus. I give a slight edge to Carnage. It'd be a drawn-out fight. Prometheus is quick and smart enough to stay away from Carnage, but I think Carnage's versatility in his weapons would be too much, and he would probably, in a sustained battle, beat Prometheus. Gamora versus Midnighter. I got Midnighter. Pretty easy battle for him. He's too smart of a fighter, just as skilled of a fighter, would be too quick because of his predictions, and would take down Gamora. General Grievous versus Black Manta. I got General Grievous. Black Manta's a consistent, historic jobber. Grievous is fast enough to evade his attacks, would get up close and slice him to pieces. Then we have Psylocke versus Hawkman. In this battle, I have Hawkman. Physically, I think he would just be too much for Psylocke. He would make it a physical up-close battle and would break her down. Next up, General Grievous versus Hawkman. I got Hawkman due to his flight and speed. I think he could get in and get his hit in on General Grievous before Grievous can get him back. Carnage would be facing Midnighter. Midnighter would be able to take down Carnage. He's fought similar foes like Parasite, who operate in a weird manner like Carnage. And him and Hawkman, because Hawkman would win pretty fast, both of them combined would easily take down the remaining Marvel heroes. DC wins. MVP, I give it to Hawkman because of his brutal physicality and his flight. Next tier, tier 4, or high meta as I call it. First up for Marvel, we have a hero, Mr. Fantastic. By the way, if you're still watching, thank you. I love you all. Thank you for the support. Make sure to subscribe. Anyways, Mr. Fantastic, leader of the Fantastic Four, one of the most famous characters in Marvel, and is the smartest character on Earth. When Daken attempts to kill Mr. Fantastic, all he can do is make his rubbery body stretch out. The claws of Daken, or Daken, if you want to call him that, could not cut him. He is able to react in combat to Ronan the Accuser absolutely ragdolling Johnny Storm. When a bunch of superheroes attempted to blitz a cosmic being, Mr. Fantastic was able to temporarily restrain all of them from doing so by using his stretching powers. He was able to actually tank a blast from an elder god of the universe, claimed it did no damage to him, and just pretended to be hurt. One time, Thing believed he was Dr. Doom, tried to put him down with a physical beating, and was not able to. Mr. Fantastic, because of his rubbery nature, can take a lot of damage. Moving on to War Machine. Dollar Tree discount version of Iron Man basically sums up his character. Anyway, he was capable of hurting a heavily suppressed Thanos due to Thanos dying, but you can still wank this. His weapons were able to harm him regardless. Cable actually states one time in a confrontation that he believes War Machine could kill him and was capable of killing him if he wanted to, which is pretty impressive. He was able to burn Wonder Man and hurt him with just his simple repulsor blast. He managed to stagger Thor when coming in for a blitz. He didn't really hurt Thor when he did this, but the fact that he staggered Thor is very, very impressive. He was able to take a blast that actually caused Red Hulk to scream, which is impressive given Red Hulk can brawl with the likes of Hulk. And War Machine was pretty unhurt after being assaulted by Wonder Man, and of course got the better of Wonder Man in that matchup. Moving on, a villain on this Marvel team, Darth Vader, one of the most famous fictional villains of all time and one of my favorite characters ever. Darth Vader has actually mastered multiple Force abilities. While most only use a few, Vader is capable of performing dozens of abilities, including absorbing energy, accelerated healing, controlling pain, reducing injury, combat sense, danger sense, life detection, life sense, telepathy, ability to injure and kill with force crush, telekinesis, so on and so forth. Vader got cornered by thousands of armored troops and was able to thug his way out of it without sustaining serious injury. Pre-Prime Vader was capable of dueling and besting multiple Jedi, despite the fact that he was not fully immersed in his Darth Vader dark side potential. Vader was able to throw back Darth Sidious upon learning of the death of his family. You can argue what is crazier is it might have been passive since it was just his rage that did it, but it depends on what form of media you see this event occur in. Vader's will and fury is so crazy that it is considered world destroying in potency. Moving on, the last character for Marvel in this round, a villain, Sebastian Shaw. Basically, cucked Cyclops, yeah. Just an X-Man baddie, not very popular. His mutant ability is to absorb kinetic energy and use it. He was able to absorb the energy of Gambit one time and used it to devastate the area. He was able to get the drop on and quickly overwhelm Storm physically, despite her being an Omega level mutant. Any hit he sustains can amp him potentially with the energy. Even something as small as a book hitting him on the forehead can amp his power. He was able to pull up on Cable and actually manhandled him in combat. Despite Magneto having the advantage due to the environment possessing so much metal, Shaw showed he was actually tactical enough to hold his own for an extended period of time. Shaw has shown he is also comfortable throwing hands with the like of the X-Men powerhouse himself, Colossus. Moving on, we have DC's team. First hero, Blue Beetle. Alien, parasitic, like Scarab, attached itself to him, became one with the Beetle, becomes a defender of Earth, yada yada, you get the deal. When pressed, he has been able to produce blasts that are potent enough to even compromise Lantern shields. The Scarab will react and auto-defend against threats, even if Blue Beetle is not reacting to the threat himself. He has passive defense. He was able to tank hits from a controlled Guy Gardner. This is impressive given that Guy Gardner is a renowned Green Lantern. He has also shown he has passive telepathic resistance. He doesn't even have to try to resist the telepathic attacks. He can also perform a move with time dilation where he manipulates causality and time to appear to be in multiple spots at once. Next up for DC is Starfire. She is the thought of the Teen Titans. All you need to know. Never mind. I'm going to leave it at that. Anyways, she was able to... She's an alien princess too. Let's be nice. She was able to use her star bolts to blast back a Superboy knockoff clone. Starfire has actually shown she is capable of reacting to and sometimes evading speedsters like Jesse Quick. She is unafraid when it comes to physically confronting and brawling with a Brainiac-level being. She is also fast enough and strong enough to pull up on a Kryptonian and was able to throw hands with the Kryptonian before the Kryptonian's powers were drained. She has also managed to take hits from a demon, and she did not go down from these hits. She's actually more durable than people think. Next character, this is actually quick for us, Blackfire. We don't have to go over Blackfire scaling. She basically scales to Starfire. That's Starfire's mean sister. Dexstar, the hood rat cat from Red Lantern, is next up. He is a pissed off cat that trolls the galaxy with the rest of the Red Lantern Corps. Dexstar has shown he is capable of mauling and maiming a Yellow Lantern by deceiving it and then firing his plasma breath. His fire, which is also his plasma breath, is capable of burning so long as hate is in the presence of the blaze. This scan also refers to how he can fly and also how he can create force fields for defense. Dexstar has also shown he is capable of taking attacks from Green Lantern constructs and was able to shrug it off just fine. So, let's go over the matchups in this battle. Mr. Fantastic versus Blue Beetle. Who do I have? I got Mr. Fantastic. I believe he's simply too durable, would be able to take what Blue Beetle dishes out, is more intelligent, would outlast him and beat him. Next up, War Machine versus Starfire. I believe War Machine would win this due to his arsenal and his experience. Starfire is kind of an immature fighter, and I believe he would take advantage of this. Next up, Darth Vader versus Blackfire. Vader Wash is simply too versatile, too powerful with the Force, too good of a fighter, would take out Blackfire. Sebastian Shaw versus Dexstar. I'm going with the cat, man. I think Star would blitz and burn Sebastian Shaw and maul him. Finally, we have Darth Vader, War Machine, and Mr. Fantastic versus Dexstar. Marvel washes at that point. They take this round. MVP goes to Darth Vader because of his strength and versatility allowed his team success. Marvel has tied it up at 2-2. Now, round 5, tier 5 of this video is basically Planetary tier, final tier of this video. You've stuck it out this long. Let's see who's here to duke it out. First up for Marvel, we have a hero, Storm. The African princess herself can control the elements. She's also a famed member and was once a leader of the X-Men. Storm's powers seem to be more fundamental than just simple weather manipulation. This is shown as her powers are even capable of working on the astral plane. Due to her fundamental powers and her elemental powers, she was able to help fix a rift in time and space, which is crazy. Storm was actually able to blast back Dark Phoenix with a gale and held off Dark Phoenix for a brief amount of time, which is very impressive. She can also summon storms that, according to the comics, are capable of reshaping entire planets. Casually, Storm has shown in combat that she can summon hurricanes, hurricane conditions in just an instant. Size-wise, when it comes to the storms she can produce, at the very minimum, she can create a continent-sized storm. Next up on her team, a hero, a member of her team, Colossus. Colossus, the big metal boy, always down to throw bungalows for the X-Men. He has consistently shown he has no issue stepping up against and matching the power of Hulk-level beings. While he doesn't typically win, he can take the beatings and hold them off. In comics beforehand, it has shown blatantly that Colossus can match the Thing in terms of their strength. His punches scale above Storm's AP. This was shown when she was not able to destroy something, but his punches alone could destroy it. He has walked through and tanked blasts from Doctor Doom, who was trying to put the group that included Colossus down. He once tanked a blast that was able to take down Rogue, and this didn't really do any damage to him. It just hurt his clothes. And he can step toe-to-toe with Gladiator and even withstand several direct hits from Gladiator, who most people consider to be Hulk level when it comes to strength, potentially when he's confident, but still he took multiple hits from Gladiator and was fine. Moving on, we have a villain, rival, and sometimes the leader of X-Men, Magneto, the Radical Mutant, the controller of metal. He has shown in combat he is capable of BFRing Vision and actually has a good record when squaring off with the Vision. He has had at one point a problem where he had to control and manipulate enough satellites that if they had fell, they would have destroyed all major cities. The X-Men roster can't bring him down even in training due to his tactical prowess and the manipulation of his powers. He has also managed to endure several blows from Black Bolt, who has brawled with the Hulk before. Even while off guard, he took a full blast from Cyclops to the back, and that didn't take him down. Moving on, we have a villain on this team. One of the most evil characters in today's battle, Darth Sidious. Darth Sidious has shown before in comic books. Of course, this wasn't technically the Marvel comics, but he belongs to them now, so I'm using it. He bested post Return of the Jedi Luke in a duel and then mentally dominated him. This is also shown he knows most, if not all, official Force powers, both from the light side and dark side of the Force. His lightning is potent enough to light up planets if need be. His presence is described as a darkness beyond dark. He passively mind hacks his characters, can emotionally hacks them just by being in their presence. Moving on for the DC team. First, stepping to the plate, Superboy, the young version of Superman. This one we're using is from New 52. That's my favorite version. And most of his power actually comes from his telekinetic abilities. In New 52, he showed with his amps he was able to stagger and harm New 52 Martian Manhunter with his punches. He even, while not at his best, was able to endure a brawl and beating from Supergirl. He was able to actually power up one time to the point that his TK was effective against relatives of Trigon the Demon. His telekinetic power is so strong that he once got a hold of Kid Flash with it, and he was on the verge of tearing him apart on a molecular level. Next up is Superman villain himself from New 52, Hyel. Hyel is a radical Kryptonian and a boy who is always down for a good scrap. In New 52, he was able to casually stop Superman from blitzing him and put him down. When matched up with the likes of Superboy, he actually manhandled Superboy and is his superior on this team. Supergirl once tried to blitz him. Hyel was able to stand there and actually tank the blitz. Hyel is actually shown he is able with telekinesis to restrict characters in their movements. He has tanked punches from Superman that was shaking space around them. He has been able to use battlefield removal on the likes of even fast characters like the Flash. He's a being capable of accessing teleportation and using it in combat. And he was at one point ripping apart Cal on a molecular level with his TK, like an amped version of Superboy. He was capable of shrinking Supergirl with his power. And at some points in the comics, even against super-powered beings, Hyel has shown the ability to completely mask his presence from them, making him a very dangerous foe. Moving on, we have Bizarro. Bizarro is the mentally lacking Discord goon version of Superman. His powers are backwards from Superman, so his freezing actually comes from his vision or frost vision. Bizarro has shown he can create ice around his fists and use them to somehow amp his attack potency when he strikes. Bizarro can use his frost vision to freeze appendages and then eventually knock them off in close quarters combat. In terms of speed, there's not too many crazy Bizarro speed feats, but he has shown he's capable of keeping up with Black Adam in flight. He was also capable and was able to put down Artemis. Artemis actually fared better against Wonder Woman than she did against Bizarro, which is very impressive. Finally, for this team, we have Ocean Master. Now, Ocean Master, by the way, I count Bizarro basically as a human. He kind of turns into, a hero. Anyways, Ocean Master, evil Atlantean, rival to Aquaman. You know the vibes. Let's get right into it. His water manipulation is strong enough to KO the main roster of the Justice League when he took them by surprise. The lightning he is able to produce actually was able to stun the Justice League at certain points, and he has shown a very powerful manipulation over storms and water on a planetary level. He's shown the ability to create massive floods, even on a city scale, by flooding an entire city. and he has faced off with Zatanna before, and due to his powers, clashed with Zatanna and overpowered her. As a full-blooded Atlantean, he scales physically above his New 52 brother Aquaman. This was made obvious when he ragdolled him in physical combat. Now let's go over the results and the matchups of the final tier. Storm versus Superboy. Who do I got? I'm taking Superboy. I like Storm way better, but Superboy is faster and his TK would be the difference. Next up is perhaps the most interesting battle, would be an absolute slugfest. Darth Sidious versus High-El. Who do I think wins? I got High-El. I believe he's just too physically dominant for Darth Sidious to handle. Moving on, we got Colossus versus Bizarro. While Bizarro is a dangerous foe, I believe Colossus is strong enough and smart enough to outskill him and win that fight. Finally, Magneto versus Ocean Master. Close battle, weird and interesting battle, but I favor Magneto. He can mess with the iron internally in Ocean Master and potentially produce something like a heart attack. He's done it before. And he's just more likely to win that matchup. Next, the final battle for this group is Magneto and Colossus versus High-El and Superboy. I believe Magneto and Colossus lose that matchup. High-El's too versatile. Superboy's TK is powerful. I think they overwhelm that team and win. DC wins this round. MVP goes to High-El due to his power and versatility. So, at the end of part 1 of my Marvel vs. DC versus crossover, we've gotten up to the Planetary range of power so far. 40 people fought. DC currently holds the point advantage 3-2. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video. Please like and share this video. I put so much effort into it. Anyways, it's been your favorite villain. I'm exhausted. I've been recording forever, and I will see y'all later. Peace.